beyond the most beautiful of dreams, where the imagination meets frontiers, where its beauty ecstatically surprises the soul, there is a place in which trains cross falls, and the Southern Cross shines brightly surrounded by star-spangled nights. It is a setting where it is impossible to describe the blue of the sky as it becomes one with that of the sea on a crystal-clear horizon, where plentiful fresh air waits avid lungs, and transparent crystalline waters jealously safekeep breathtaking fish and corals. Beautiful creatures never seen in other lands look at us with revealing eyes, proving that they are not animals from fables, and winged multicolored fruits fall from the trees, forming colored and music-filled images in the clouds of the clear morning skies. There the desert dunes, the wooded zones and the sea converge in an inexplicable way in a single terrain. Magnificent mountains, majestic plains, eucalyptus woods, wide rivers and cascades, kangaroos, koalas, emus, crocodiles, clouds of parakeets and yet other marvels, convinces us that here nature and civilization live together in an unintelligible harmony for the others that live on Earth. Australia, the land of the Koori, born in the era of dreams, the land of the South that impacted the legendary Captain Cook, the last great undiscovered continent, the land at the end of the world. Live Australia! You too should have your very own experience of living in this marvellous country. You too should live Australia. Who are we? We are an Australian company with our headquarters in Sydney and are the representatives in all Latin America. Authorised by the Australian government since 1999 to orient and represent immigrants, among which are students, professionals, investors, business people, qualified workers, family requests, and another 100 types of visa for Australia and New Zealand. MARA is the Australian institution that regulates, accredits and inspects immigration agents in Australia. Live Australia has been approved under licence number 0101111. Our services. Live Australia orients you professionally in your desire to establish yourself temporarily or permanently in Australia or New Zealand. Depending on your condition as tourist, student, professional, qualified worker or investor. Types of visas. Residency as an independent professional, including international students that obtain professional titles in Australia. Business owners, executive impresarios, established regional businesses or investment in business. Close parental ties or relatives, distinguished talent, spouse or future spouse of a resident. General considerations. Live Australia focuses on your activities in 2 legal consultancy services. International student, free of charge. Immigrants who wish to live, work and/or study permanently in Australia or New Zealand. For the international student, our consultancy service for students is free of charge. This is because it is the institutions that assume the cost of our work. For immigrants, upon making the decision to settle in Australia or New Zealand, we agree on the type of visa to solicit, terms to comply to and conditions, as well as the respective professional fees. Live Australia supplies the information referent to the corresponding application expenses and of others that could arise as a consequence of the immigration process. For ethical reasons, we perform an initial evaluation of your particular situation according to the respective government requirements, which allows us to advise you upon whether to continue the process or not. Our assessment and honest advice save you time, money, and the deception that the failure of an immigration process produces. In professional abilities processes for permanent or temporary residency applicants according to the case, procedure times depend on each case and the occupation, and the complete process usually takes between 12 and 16 months from the date of opening the file to the issuing of the visa. The Australian government awards priority treatment to certain occupations, responding to a very strong demand in the labour market. Presently, various professions receive priority treatment, and the procedure takes only between 6 and 10 months. Among these professions are general and specialised doctors, nurses, therapists, physiotherapists, radiologists, chefs, hairdressers, refrigeration and air conditioning mechanics. The Australian government has created an extensive list of the occupations for which permanent residency visas can be solicited due to the existing demand in the internal labour market. Generally, it is necessary for a visa applicant of this type to have studied a minimum of 8 full-time semesters, although there are various exceptions, systems professionals and technicians among others. The Australian Immigration Departments use the IELTS exam to prove the level of English of qualified immigration visa applicants. Currently, there is a minimum of 5.5 in each of the components of the general version of the exam: reading, writing, listening comprehension and speaking. Live Australia is a specialist in permanent residency visas in qualified immigration, immigration for business and family immigration. Our consultants are also trained to assist you in the obtaining of all types of temporary visa. The student visa is issued to people that wish to study recognised full-time courses in an Australian academic institution. This type of visa allows the student to perform work tasks for 20 hours per week while the studies are in course, and for full-time during academic vacations. Anyone that wishes to study in Australia for more than 3 months should apply for a student visa. Once you receive the acceptance letter from the academic institution in which you wish to study, you will be able to initiate the process to obtain the student visa with the Australian immigration authorities. Agreement of universities and institutions with Live Australia. Live Australia offers students free professional advice under the direction of a recognised and experienced authorised immigration agent licensed by the Australian government. The most important Australian universities and colleges have agreements with our organisation. Thanks to our experience and consultancy, free for you as a student, will be much easier and safer to do with the university or college where you will study. The same is true for the application procedure before the Australian Embassy and for the obtaining of the work permit once in Australia and having started your studies. As you can appreciate, studying in Australia is quite possibly the best and easiest option to solicit a resident visa. Many of our clients today are successful professionals in this country. You too could be, so don't think it over anymore. Contact us and Live Australia.